गुड मॉर्निंग डियर स्टूडेंट्स। मैं डॉक्टर नीलम गुप्ता बीएससी पार्ट 3 के स्टूडेंट्स के साथ क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स एंड स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी डिस्कस करूंगी। पिछली क्लासेस में हमने आइगन वैल्यूज, आइगन फंक्शंस और फिजिकल इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ वेव फंक्शन साई के बारे में पढ़ा था, जाना था। आज हम कंसीडर करेंगे कि वेव फंक्शन साई की क्या लिमिटेशंस है। वेव फंक्शन साई की लिमिटेशंस को कंसीडर करने के लिए हमने कहा कि चूंकि हमने जब वेव फंक्शन को इंटरप्रेट किया था तो हमने देखा या हमने यह समझा कि वेव फंक्शन जो है उसको हम प्रोबेबिलिटी एम्पलीट्यूड की तरह भी कंसीडर करते हैं, या बेसिकली कहें तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि वेव फंक्शन जो है वो बेसिकली प्रोबेबिलिटी एम्पलीट्यूड है, आयाम प्रायिकता है। और साथ ही साथ हमने यह भी देखा कि जो वेव फंक्शन साई है ये सिंगल वैल्यूड होना चाहिए, एक कलमानी होना चाहिए, अर्थात एक्स, वाई और जेड के प्रत्येक अलग अलग मानों के लिए एक सेट ऑफ वैल्यू एक्स, वाई और जेड की एक सेट के वैल्यू के लिए साई का सिर्फ एक ही मान होना चाहिए। वेव फंक्शन साई शुड ओनली बी सिंगल वैल्यूड वेव फंक्शन। साई जो है वो एकल मानी होना चाहिए। दूसरी जो इसकी लिमिटेशन है वो क्या है, साई जो है इसका मान फाइनाइट होना चाहिए, और हम इसको लिख सकते हैं लिमिट, और कब फाइनाइट होना चाहिए, फॉर द फाइनाइट वैल्यूज ऑफ dx। अगर यदि हम कंसीडर करें कि लिमिट dx स्टैंडिंग टू 0, मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ साई एक्स होल स्क्वायर dx इज इक्वल टू 0। For this condition to be satisfied, psi must be finite at everywhere. Psi को हर स्थान पर finite होना चाहिए, but this is not a necessary requirement in some cases. For example, अगर हम consider करें psi is equal to 1 upon r. This psi is equal to 1 upon r satisfy this equation or this condition that limit psi x magnitude whole square dx is equal to 0 everywhere, but it is not finite at the origin. psi is equal to 1 upon r को यदि हम देखें तो वह हमारी इस लिमिटिंग कंडीशन को तो फुलफिल करता है, लेकिन फाइनाइट भी होता है। लेकिन जब x r is equal to 0 हुआ, ओरिजिन हुआ, तो psi हमारा psi is equal to 1 upon r, when you put r is equal to 0 it becomes infinite. So we can say psi is not finite at the origin. So for our purpose, that for the problem जो भी हम अगली क्लासेस में या अगले कक्षाओं में जो डिस्कस करेंगे उसमें हमने यही एज्यूम किया है कि साई जो है इट शुड बी फाइनाइट एट everywhere. The third limitations of the wave function psi is, since psi satisfied a second order differential linear equation. What is that second order differential linear equation? This is equal to d2 psi upon dx square plus 2m over h cross square e minus vx I is equal to 0. So as long as the potential energy Vx is finite, whether or not it is continuous, the requirement of the condition of both the wave function and its derivative means इसका first derivative d psi over dx enable the solution of this equation. If Vx, that is the potential energy function, is infinite anywhere, the proper boundary condition is obtained by assuming Vx should be finite at that point and carrying out the limiting process making Vx standing to infinity. Such a limiting process make the wave function to vanish at a point where Vx is equal to infinity, but the direction of the gradient remains undetermined. So all these three limiting conditions, we can summarize the limiting values of wave function psi as, the first limitation is psi must be single valued at each and every point in space. Psi must not be infinite at any point in the space. And the third limiting condition is psi and d psi upon dx wave function and its first derivative must be continuous in all regions except in those regions where the potential energy is Vx is equal to, it is not 0, it should be infinity. So now we consider the next behavior of the wave function, that is considered as normalization of wave function. नॉर्मलाइजेशन ऑफ वेव फंक्शन के लिए हमने कंसीडर किया कि हमने जब फिजिकल इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ द वेव फंक्शन पढ़ा था तो हमने क्या कहा था कि वेव फंक्शन जो है वो किसी भी पार्टिकल के ढूंढने की प्रायिकता को प्रदर्शित करता है. That means if we consider the given volume element is dV, then psi star dV or psi magnitude square dV represents the probability of finding the particle in a given volume element dV. But if we consider any physical problem, we come across a situation where the particle is bound to force to a limited region. For example, say if we consider the electron is an atom or the particle in a box with non-penetrative wall. In such cases, the particle is like to be found anywhere or somewhere in the space. यदि मान लो हम ये कंसीडर करें कि कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन एटम में है या कोई कण जो है वो एक बॉक्स के अंदर है और बॉक्स ऐसा है जिसकी वॉल्स जो है वो अभेद्य है, नॉन पेनिट्रेबल है. उन केसेस में यदि हम पार्टिकल को ढूंढें तो कहीं ना कहीं स्पेस में पार्टिकल हमें जरूर मिलेगा. सो the probability of finding the particle in space will be represented by some probability distribution function, so that the total probability of finding the particle in the whole of the space considered in a particular problem is unity. Say for example, if we consider that you are sitting in a classroom or you are sitting at a home, and if the person who is trying to find to you in your home, is it possible that you will not appear? No, you will definitely appear. तुम जरूर से मिलोगे. कहाँ मिलोगे? कहीं भी मिल सकते हो, इन एनी रूम. ड्राइंग रूम में भी मिल सकते हो, बेडरूम में भी मिल सकते हो, लॉन में भी मिल सकते हो, किचन में भी मिल सकते हो. बट आपको ढूंढने की जो प्रोबेबिलिटी होगी दैट विल बी 100% 1. सो इन दैट केस द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ finding the particle in space will be represented by some probability distribution function. So similarly here the particle is also represented in the same manner. So this may be written as psi RT magnitude square dV is equal to 0, because psi is a wave function. Wave particle can be found anywhere in the space. So definitely we will find the particle in the space. So the probability function should be equal to 1, where V is the volume of the whole space. And this equation 2 can be integrated to overall the space. So this will be considered as integration psi RT, psi star RT dV is equal to 1. So any wave function which satisfied this equation is said to be a normalized to unity. ऐसा कोई भी वेव फंक्शन तरंग फलन जो हमारी इस इक्वेशन को सेटिस्फाई करता है. कौन सी इक्वेशन? दिस इक्वेशन, इंटीग्रल साइज RT psi star RT dV is equal to 1, then that is considered as normalized wave function. Generally, psi is not a normalized wave function. It is known that if psi is multiplied by a constant a, and that will give a new wave function a psi, then it can be seen that the new wave function a psi is also a solution of the wave equation. So the next problem arises is, it is clear for all of us, because normally psi is not a normalized wave function, but if this psi is multiplied by a constant value a, then definitely it will give a new function. That new function is denoted by a psi. So if we consider that this new function a psi is a solution of the wave equation, but in that case again we will be in a small trouble. What is that trouble? That how we can determine the value of this constant a. So now the next problem arises to select the proper value of a such that the new wave function is a normalized wave function. So to evaluate the value of this constant a, the wave function is normalized onto the new wave function has to fulfill the following requirement. Psi, new function is a psi, complex conjugate is a psi star, dx, dy, dz is the volume element, that will be equal to 1. This magnitude of a square can be taken outside from the integration. So a star or a magnitude square integration psi star dx dy dz is equal to 1, or this a magnitude square is equal to 1 upon integral psi star dx dy dz. So now in that case we are able to determine this constant a, and this constant a is known as normalization constant. Next we'll consider the orthogonality of the wave function. ऑर्थोगोनलिटी लंबिकता को यदि हम प्रदर्शित करना चाहें किसी भी तरंग फलन के लिए, तो हमने कंसीडर किया, सपोज वी हैव द टू वेव फंक्शंस, one wave function is psi m and another wave function is represented by psi n. And these two wave functions are such that the integral of integration psi m star psi n dv or integration psi n star psi m dv vanishes over entire space for m is not equal to n. That means this integral psi m star psi n dv is equal to 0, or integral psi n star psi m dv is equal to 0 for m is not equal to n. Then the wave function psi m and the wave function psi n are said to be orthonormal to each other. To prove this orthogonality of the wave function, we consider, suppose we have the two wave function psi m and psi n. These two wave functions are the difference solution of the Schrodinger's equation. Now we consider corresponding to the eigenvalues of these wave functions are E1 and E2. Suppose we have the wave function psi m. Corresponding to this psi m, we have the energy eigenvalue is E1, and corresponding to this wave function psi n, we have the energy eigenvalue E2. So we can write down, according to Schrodinger's wave equation, del 2 psi m plus 2m over h cross square E1 minus v psi m is equal to 0, and another equation is del 2 psi n plus 2m over h cross square E2 minus v psi n is equal to 0. Now we consider the complex conjugate of equation number 1, and that can be written as del 2 psi m star plus 2m over h cross square E minus v psi m star is equal to 0. Or the equation number 2, this equation is multiplied by psi m star, and this equation 3 is multiplied by psi n, and we'll get that psi m star del 2 psi n. We will multiply this equation by psi m star, so we'll get psi m star del 2 psi n plus 2m over h cross square E2 minus v psi m star psi n is equal to 0, and this equation is multiplied by psi n, so it becomes psi n del 2 psi m star plus 2m over h cross square E1 minus v psi m star psi n is equal to 0. Now the equation number 5 is subtracting from equation number 4, or we'll get del psi m star del 2 psi n minus psi n del 2 psi m star plus 2m over h cross square E2 minus E1 psi m star psi n is equal to 0. Now we'll integrate this equation number 6 over the space coordinates, and we'll get along the x-axis, along the y-axis, or along the z-axis. So we'll put the 3 integral x along the x, y, or z-axis. So integral psi m star del 2 psi n minus psi n del 2 psi m star dv plus 2m over h cross square into E2 minus E1 integral psi m star psi n dv is equal to 0. Now it is possible to transfer the first integral, which is known as the volume integral, to a space integral with boundary surface at infinity by using the Green's theorem, and this will give you integral volume integral can be converted into the space integral by using the Green's theorem. So the first term, which is denoted by the volume integral, is converted into the space integral. So this 3 integral can be converted into the 2 area integral along the 2 axes. So double integral psi m star del 2 psi n minus psi n del 2 psi m star ds plus 2m over h cross square into E2 minus E1 remains as such, and this 3 integral psi m star psi n dv is equal to 0. As psi m and psi n vanishes at the surface at infinity, the first term becomes 0, and we'll get the different functions as psi m and psi n are the different functions. So integral psi m star psi n dv is equal to 0 if E2 is not equal to E1. This is only possible when E2 is not equal to even. Hence, the two wave functions are said to be orthogonal wave functions. So, orthonormal functions are the functions which are orthogonal and also normalized are known as orthonormal wave functions. Now, we consider the expectation values of dynamic quantities. According to Born, the wave function psi has probabilistic interpretation, therefore it is essential to calculate the average or expectation values of any dynamical quantity defined by the wave function. चूंकि एक्सपेक्टेशन वैल्यू निकालने के लिए बॉर्न ने कंसीडर किया कि चूंकि हमारे पास जो वेव फंक्शन साई है उसका हमारे पास एक प्रोबेबिलिटिक इंटरप्रिटेशन है, तो इसलिए हमें उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी है, एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू नहीं है, इसलिए हमें उसका एवरेज या उसकी एक्सपेक्टेशन वैल्यू हमें निकालनी पड़ेगी. फिजिक्स में ऐसी डायनेमिकल क्वांटिटीज जो हैं वो स्पेस कोऑर्डिनेट्स है, मोमेंटम है, एनर्जी है, सब चीजें. द एवरेज और एक्सपेक्टेशन वैल्यू ऑफ ए डायनेमिकल क्वांटिटीज इज डिफाइंड एज द एवरेज ऑफ द रिजल्ट टू ए लार्ज नंबर ऑफ मेजरमेंट और इंडिपेंडेंट सिस्टम. So the expectation value of any quantity fr which depends upon the position for the normalized wave function can be written in this form. Expectation value of fr is equal to integral prt fr dq bar, or average value of fr is expectation value of fr is equal to integral psi star rt fr psi rt dq bar, where dq bar is equal to dx dy dz, which is considered as a volume element. So the expectation value of r is written as expectation value of r is equal to integral psi star rt r psi rt dq bar. If we write down this is in the coordinate form, then average expectation value of x, expectation value of y, and expectation value of z, which is given by this equation number 9. So here expectation value of x, expectation of value of y, and expectation value are the expectation value of the coordinate x, y, and z of the particle. Now we consider the expectation value of the potential energy, which is also a function of position. Then this can be written as expectation value of potential energy is equal to integral psi star rt v rt psi rt into dq bar. As the expectation values of the other quantities such as momentum and energy can be written in the form of operator, so the expectation value of momentum is equal to integral psi star, this is the operator form of the momentum, so minus iota h cross del psi dq. Minus iota h cross you can take outside from the integration, or integral psi star del psi dq. Similarly, if we consider the expectation value of energy, then this is equal to integral psi star iota h cross del over del t psi del cube r. Iota h cross again we can take outside from the integration, so it becomes iota h cross integral psi star del psi over del t dq bar. So it is noted from the above equation that the expectation value only holds if the wave function is properly normalized. Otherwise, we have the definition of the expectation value of any quantity f like this. Because this denominator remains equal to 1 in case of the normalized wave function. So now the next topic is we will consider what are the differences between the quantum mechanics and the classical mechanics. The first difference is the quantum mechanics deal with the particle of macroscopic size, whereas the quantum mechanics deal with the particles of microscopic size. क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि हमारी जो चिरसम्मत यांत्रिकी है वह कणों के बड़े साइज को डील करती है, क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स हमारे कणों के सूक्ष्म साइज को डील करती है. क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स विच इज जिसको कि हम न्यूटोनियन मैकेनिक्स भी कहते हैं, उसको हमने न्यूटन्स लॉ ऑफ मोशन के आधार पर, जो न्यूटन्स लॉ ऑफ मोशन की जो बेसिक आधारभूत इक्वेशन थी F इज इक्वल टू ma, उसके बेसिस पर हमने पूरी क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स को कंसीडर किया, डिस्कस किया. Whereas one method of approach to obtain the law of quantum mechanics is on the basis of Schrodinger's wave equation, which is one-dimensional time-dependent form is given by minus h cross square upon 2m del 2 psi over del x square plus v psi is equal to iota. Here I'm sorry, I missed the printing of h cross, iota h cross del psi over del t. So where psi is a wave function associated with the particle and v is the potential energy of the particle. The third similarity or third difference between the classical and quantum mechanics is in classical mechanics the future position and momentum of the particle can be completely known if the initial position and momentum as v as far as the forces acting on it are known. Whereas in quantum mechanics there is an inherent uncertainty in the determination of initial position and momentum of a particle. By using the uncertainty principle we can explain this. It is not possible to completely know the future position and momentum at a large state. Or in other words, we can say classically the trajectory of the particle is sharply defined, whereas quantum mechanically the trajectory of the particle is not sharply defined. So this is all for today. Thank you for listening.